To morning coffee with Maddog Merv, my friends. It's cold. I don't want to know how cold it is, but it's cold. I don't know if I can flip the screen here. Let's try and do this, just because we can try. Let's see here. Okay, so out there, it is really cold. You can see the frost on everything. We've been having fog the last probably 4 mornings and evenings, and the smog has been really bad for at least that long. In fact, we had the worst air quality in the world, definitely in the country, but probably in the world too. This last, was it yesterday or the day before? But you can just see all the frost out there. It's flipping cold. So I think we're in the. It's not that bad. We're in the mid 20s, but right now, with the temperature inversion, the high pressure that we have over Salt Lake City, the valley as we call it, all the pollution from the nearly 1 million people, it gets trapped. It can't blow away. So, hey, good morning. How you doing, man? Yes, I have my gay apparel on. So, I know that's an old Al Bundy joke, so I can't ever let that one go. But if you ever watched Married with Children and some of the Christmas episodes, and yeah, anyway, you guys know my sense of humor anyway. So, it's needless to say, it's cold. It's in the mid 20s. It only gets up into maybe the low 40s right now. We're just stuck in a pattern where we have this temperature inversion. Now, up at the ski resorts, it's probably 60, 70 degrees because the sun can get through, and unlike down here and having to burn through either the fog or the smog. So I'm out in the doghouse this morning. I'm actually doing some work on. I picked up some used ultramarines on eBay, and just like with used other models on eBay, they're things that were painted with like gobs of paint or gobs of glue, whatever, glue bombs. But I guess there was a movie that came out recently called Ultramarine 2 or Space Marine 2 or something like that. I don't know, because I'm not into that stuff. But that movie came out, and I guess there's been a run from the community. Hey, Chris, how are you, buddy? There's been a run from the Warhammer community on Space Marines. So they're very expensive right now. You don't get much of a discount. When you do find a deal like this, these were paint bombs. So I soaked them overnight in Easy Off, and some of the paint came off, but I'm still working on trying to get the rest of it off, so I can build a bigger army, like everything else I do. Today's shout out, I wanted to go to Bollier Hobby Time, and you guys have probably seen some of his work on YouTube. Very creative. Just sometimes it's just way out there, but it's so cool, and you get some really neat ideas and some really neat, not just inspiration, but you start wanting to figure out certain tips that he's, methods that he's using. So check him out, Bollier Hobby Time. Good channel. Very inspirational for me, anyway. Oh man, that is so good today. It's still cool out here, even though I've got my heat going. It's nice to be out in the doghouse. My office downstairs, I got some new lighting in it. It's much better, especially for figure painting. It's just it's not home. This is home. So very, very nice and comfortable. Well, hey, last week we took a look at some of the armor builds that I have that I haven't really shown you guys. Those armor builds are, let's just say I have a lot of them. And there's because I've been doing armor since I was, I don't know, 7, 8. Started out with 48 scale Bandai stuff. My teenage years, I went to 35th scale, usually Italieri, some of the cheaper brands. And that's about the time I met my friend Mark Miller. He was already into it, so we did a lot of particularly German armor builds back in my teenage years. So I've been doing it for a long time, but there's several builds that I haven't shown you guys at all, that I may have done, a decade ago or whatever. One that it's in one of these boxes, the What's in the Box series. I actually saw it in one of those, and it's here somewhere. It's not terribly easily accessible. I mean, I could probably find it in 5 or 10 minutes, but the Kelly's Heroes Sherman. And what I chose to use for my Kelly's Heroes Sherman was the Dragon kit from the European Theater, the ETO. It's a late model Sherman. So it's the M4A3 with the, I don't know, they're like a holder on the side, so that when the doors come open, it doesn't slap against the deck. It, hits the bumper or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, in the movie, they talk about the gun and the gun size. They put this tube on it to make it look like a 90. And yeah, Oddball. You gotta love Oddball. I mean, the whole movie's just, it's great. It's kind of absurd. And for us model guys, back in the day, it was cutting edge. I mean, it had real Shermans in it. And the Tiger kind of looked like a Tiger, which is a project I need to do someday. One of the local guys has done it and done very well with it. But one day I need to build that T-34 Tiger. Anyway, with the Sherman, what these were for the movie, this movie was filmed over in Europe. They picked up some Yugoslavian, is what I understand, M4A3. I think they were E4. Anyway, it was before they went to the horizontal volute suspension system post-war. These were some older, just M4A3s from the late part of the war. And they went ahead and installed a 76 millimeter gun in the turret. Now, remember, most of your 76 millimeter guns were in the T-23 turret. Hey, Pete, good to see you, man. I'm wearing my gay apparel today, just so you know. So, most of the 76 millimeter guns came in the T-23 turret. Well, post-war, we threw a bunch of the 76 millimeter guns, and they were all over Europe at that point, in just regular Sherman turrets. And so for the movie Kelly's Heroes, you have a regular turret M4A3 with a 76 millimeter gun. Ooh. And then they talk about how they put a tube over the end of it so it looks like a 90. You could do that. I did not do that with my model. For the horn on the side, the siren on the side, that's a tough one. There is a company out there that makes all the stuff for the Oddball tank, but I don't know if it's still in production. I know it wasn't being produced a few years ago when I did mine. Maybe somebody else has picked it up. I don't know. But I got a siren off of I think it was an American LaFrance, but I can't remember exactly. It was a 24 scale, I think it was AMT fire truck. But also Ecto 1, to be more recent, the Ecto 1 model from, was it AMT, whoever made the Ecto 1, it came with a little siren as well, or horn, that could be used. The one I got was from the fire truck. It looked good, and modified it a little bit and put it on the side and thought it turned out okay. I put the gas masks on, all that fun stuff that was on Oddball's tank, with the exception of where they had these like pinup girl pictures strung along the side. That's the one thing I didn't get done on mine. And I have the technology to do it, but I just I just didn't do it at the time. So one of these days we'll be looking at more of my tanks and the older builds, and that's one of them that's towards the top of the list. But mostly that thing that I put out last week was on the Pershings. Holy cow, I didn't realize I had so many Pershings, but I got into this, I get into this kick. And if I've got one of them, I've got to have every variant of it. So I had built the Hobby Boss, was it the T24 E3? Ooh, I can't remember now, but it was the one that actually saw combat over in Europe, that had the extra long barrel, that had the two-piece ammunition, that had that Galaxius plate cut from a Panther and welded on the front, and then had those kind of big metal ears on the side. Really cool looking tank that actually saw combat, and was credited with knocking out a German tank, although it's debated as what type of tank that was, because everything seemed to be a Tiger. It could have been a Mark IV all the way up to a King Tiger, but different stories will tell you different things, and I don't know, because I wasn't there. But anyway, so I built that. But Hobby Boss also put out those 3D Kelly, those Kelly's Heroes figures. I'm very envious, Pete, because they did put somebody put some out a while back, some resin figures, and I was hesitant to spend the kind of money to get them. Oddball, there's no replacement for Oddball. There just is no replacement for Oddball. So yeah, I need a set of figures. I'm going to have to put a crowbar in my wallet and go ahead and get some one of these days. By the way, just remember that in the movie, as you're watching the movie, you'll notice the 50 caliber machine gun is an air-cooled for most of the scenes. They use the air-cooled. Anyway, it's the one with the jacket all the way along the barrel. So just using a kit 50 isn't going to work. I found the air-cooled 50 in the Academy. Academy makes a weapon set. I have it around here somewhere. And in there they have a couple of air-cooled 50s. So I took one of those and put it on the Kelly's Hero Sherman. So when you build one of those, keep that in mind. It's a good source for it. So anyway, with the Pershings, I had to have both the Pilot 1 and the Pilot 2. Then, well, gee, a Super Pershing would be cool because it had the big long barrel and looked like a regular Pershing. So yeah, I had to have one of those. And then there was that T42, that assault version that I never knew about, that they put the 105 on it. So, cars, that's a good question. Fairly soon. Let's just say fairly soon, within the next month or so. I'm not currently working on a car project. Sorry to say, but got to be honest. My next one is probably going to be either this Mustang 2 from the Revell kit that had the Coney Shocks logo on the side. I started on that one a while back, really got frustrated because of the crappy tires and wheel combination on it, so I'd kind of shelved it, but it's kind of on the top of what I want to do. Yeah, those Kelly's Heroes figures. Check them out online, Chris, if you can find some. I definitely would like to get some. The other car thing that I want to do is the A-Team van. You guys saw that I have that one here. 64 Chevy Fleet Sight into a 63. Yes, I know. I didn't have a Fleet Side. I had a well, I guess it was a Fleet. I don't know what it was. I'll get back to the figures in a minute, Pete. Okay, so my Chevy truck was a 63. It was the long bed. It had the standard bed for 63. It wasn't a step side. But yes, we called it the knee knocker because a tall guy like me trying to get into a 63, you've got that window that kind of comes, like this, and you get in and you hit the knee every time, or you get out and you hit the knee every time. You got to be very careful when getting in and out of the 62, 63 Chevy and GMC trucks. I loved it. It was back in the days when I used to deliver phone books in September and October, and I would unfortunately overload that truck. I mean, it'd be right down on the stops with the weight, but that little 6-cylinder would pull that thing. The only reason I got rid of that truck was because I was promoted to a position that worked up on the bench, the east bench of Salt Lake City, that gets a lot of snow in the wintertime, and my job was to go clear that snow. So I needed a 4-wheel drive for the 1 or 2 times a year that I would have to go through the snow and get to work. So I sold my old Chevy truck, which I loved, and got a Ford 4x4, which I loved too. But I don't know, that old 63 Chevy had a big place in my heart. So cool that you're doing that. I can picture how you would do that because of the kits that are available. Definitely some kit bashing that has to go on. So that I'm interested to see when you get that Chevy truck conversion done. I'm interested to see that. Pete, on the figures, I'm hoping that when they start putting out the 3D figures, actually do a really good job, like all the other 3D figures that I've gotten. Eventually it'll be there. Right now I've got the tank, and the tank looks cool. It doesn't look complete because it doesn't have all of that fun stuff. Like I said, the pinup girls on the side doesn't have all that. But eventually we'll get a Kelly's Heroes set, and yeah, it'll look really neat. So, back to the train of thought on the cars. So, I've got that Mustang 2. I have the A-Team van that is assembled and needs to be finished painted, and that's also towards the top of the list. But there's something new coming out, and I have a strange feeling that as soon as I get that, I'm going to be building it. And it doesn't matter if I'm in the middle of doing an army for my son or my own army or what it is. When that kit hits, I know how I am. And that kit is the old Hell Drivers Mustang. So for those of you who remember the old, I think it's an AMT, but it's a Mustang 2. It's like a 76, 77 Mustang 2. It's white. The box art is white, and it says Hell Drivers on the side. So you can build it as a stunt team car. You can build it as a stock, fastback from that year, or you can build it as a street machine. The pictures of the street machine on the side of the box are wow. Yeah, they really got me excited. I ordered 2. I ordered one from the hobby shop, and I ordered one from my friend with the internet store. So they'll get them about the same time, and I can't wait. As soon as it's released, my understanding it's supposed to be out in January. I've already decided how I'm building mine. I think I'm pretty much going to do what the box has for the street machine because it looks wicked cool. So anyway, we'll see what happens when it comes. But as far as cars coming up, yes, there will be. Before long, we'll be doing a car project or two. Some of the other things, my trains are on hold for a while. Okay, those are on hold for quite a while. Armor, I'm probably not going to be doing much in the way of armor for a while. Yeah, HPI probably did get one of those. He gets them early. Here, okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys, because I don't know how else to be. Model Car Creator. I go to MRS in Sandy. That's the hobby shop that I actually frequent. My friend Doug Clements, who's the owner of the place, amazing man, amazing story. I've been trying to let him or have him let me do a piece on his business, because this guy's been in business since the mid to early 80s. He started with a small loan, and I mean a small loan, from his dad when he was still in high school, and started this hobby business that's still going today. We actually talked on Friday. He and I sat down. We had about a 15-20 minute chat about business and how things were going, and what was going on. I had some items that I wanted to take to him and have him buy for me so I could buy some other stuff. Oh yeah. It's hard to get down there, and it's hard for me to get down there too. When he had the shop here in Salt Lake, of course, that was the best hobby shop that I'd ever known. And unfortunately, they had to shutter because they would have lost the entire business had they not. The amount of rent that they were having to pay, and rents here in Salt Lake City are stupid high for any kind of warehouse space, any kind of retail space, even in a hole in the wall, back away from nobody, industrial center, and you open up a retail shop, the rents are still obscenely high. Let's put it that way. Anyway, that shop, they've kind of stayed alive because they have kept up with trends. So things like the Gundam robots that you see, and you may like them, may not like them, but those are kind of what saved the hobby in a lot of ways, because not a whole lot of these younger guys are building these old crappy, I'm just going to say it, these old shitty AMT kits they're terrible. You guys know them, you guys have built them, they're crap. Okay. But while I'm on that thought, hang on to that. Speaking of MRS, KitLinks, okay, the online hobby store is about a mile away. They're just off the freeway, off of 90th South in the Sandy, Utah area. And of course, KitLinks ships all over the world. But if you're in town, or if you're wanting to make a 2-hour trek to come down, they have an open house once a month. We're not doing it in December. We'll probably do it in January, but we might wait till February. But once a month, one Saturday, usually the fourth Saturday, he'll do a open house in the afternoon, and you can come look in the warehouse, see what he's got. He's got a lot of accessories there. He's got a lot of the collections that he takes in are there. And Loic is, yep, you did spell it right. And Loic is a great guy. There's been a lot of negative press on him over the years, and some of it has been warranted. I've known the man for well over 20 years. I've watched his business grow, and I've watched him sell a business, and I've watched him start another one. And the thing about Loic is he's driven. And anybody who knows driven people and successful people, they're kind of jerks in some ways. And that's true. I mean, it's very true. It's just the nature of being a driven person. And he still maintains a lot of humanity. He's still a great guy. But if you have to work for him, or you spend enough time around him, you're like, boy, I don't know about this. But again, wonderful. He really is a wonderful guy. And he doesn't mean, if there's ever something that doesn't gel with how you think, and it's like, wow, this guy's kind of a creep. Well, you got to understand his upbringing, his education, and his just his makeup. He doesn't mean to be that way at all. It just comes across that way. It's like, for example, a lot of folks from New York. I'm going to pick on New York because it's just how it is. You go back to New York, and a lot of people back there aren't as cordial, nice, and friendly as they are in, say, California or Nevada or Utah. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. With the car kits, like I said, those old kits that have been re-released 50 times. And thank you, Round 2, for trying to do something to make it better without having to get all new molds. Appreciate that. There's a lot of kits out there that we would love to see that were released many years ago, like that Demon that finally came back out, that we've been waiting for a lifetime, basically, since they were out the first time. We would love to see more of that. The hobby really moved more towards these younger guys, 20s and 30s. It's no longer for kids. It's gone. The part about getting kids into the hobby, forget it, it's gone. The reason I say that is you can. I had a friend who was talking with a mother of a young man and mentioned, I'd love to get him into, maybe it would be helpful for him to get into modeling. And so they looked into it. And the mom says, well, I thought about it, but I can't justify the $20+ on this item, this real simple little model for, it was like a little teeny airplane, because for $20, that's all you're going to get anymore. But the price is terrible. And you get this model kit, and then you got to have the paints. You got to have all the paints, and you got to have all the glue and all that stuff. And that's an investment. That's more of a long-term investment. And for something that the kid might not even finish to begin with, the amount of money she'd have to put into that, it's like, no, I'm not going to do that. So this friend of mine said, look, forget, I will give you the kit, and you can see it. If he doesn't like it, great. If he does like it, then hey, great, you can go from there. I've tried getting my grandkids into it. Some are just too hyperactive. They don't have the skill set to sit down and actually build something. I have one grandson that's very good at that, which is great as far as little kids. But for the most part, the hobby has priced itself out of little kids, getting kids into it. So Gundam robots and things like that, they are what's kind of keeping some of these stores alive, and that's MRS. It's not, sure as heck ain't the train guys, because most of the train guys are older than me. Most of them. Car kits and whatnot, you still see a lot of us older guys looking through car kits, and you'll buy one here and one there, a $40 kit here and there. That's not keeping the place afloat. So I'm grateful that they're still around, but keep in mind that the hobby is changing, and with online, we're lucky to have any retail stores. But anyway, one of these days I'm going to go through Doug's story with him. Again, Doug's a great guy. I know some amazing people in the hobby industry. I've been very blessed to be a part of that hobby industry. So speaking of which, what are we going to do for the kit hoarder stash? I'm not sure. Got a couple things. Yes, I have. That usually happens in August. I wanted to be a vendor at that show this year, but it didn't work out. But it's a great show, and a couple of different local groups that show up there have some things that are just amazing that I really like. So my friend Mark went last year for his birthday. I had other obligations, so I couldn't go. But we just had a train show yesterday here in Salt Lake. It's not the best one, especially for the price, so we didn't go. But the big one in Ogden, at Ogden Union Station, is coming up the end of, I think it's the end of February this year. I think they're doing a little bit early, but end of February, early March. And that one is awesome. So on the show, I'd like to do a kit hoarder stash this week. I said we would, so I will find something here that we have that we can do the stash with. For the main show tomorrow, there may be a problem. I'm just letting you guys know ahead of time. I wanted to do, because yesterday was December 7th, and you guys all know that I'm a big Pearl Harbor history buff, and that commemorating it and keeping the memory of it alive, is very important to me. So I really wanted to do something for December 7th, but I wanted to do something unique that not everybody else could do, something that, only I could do. So I contacted a friend, and he had put out a wonderful little booklet, if you will, on the torpedo attack done by, I think it was the aviators of the Hiru on that morning. And he actually sat down. This friend of mine, he's the one who got me over to the USS Utah Memorial when nobody else could get over there. You had to be with somebody that had military clearance, and so we were able to do that years ago. But he has interviewed a lot of the survivors that were available in the last 20 years, including some of the Japanese guys. And he would write down their stories and whatnot. So this tale of the torpedo attack actually comes from one of the aviators. And I would like to share it with you folks. I'm still trying to format how I'm going to do that. So the show tomorrow may be late. I'll put up something on my page here that says, hey, it's going to be late, if it is going to be late. I might be able to get it out on time tomorrow morning. We'll see. I do have a lot. It's the Christmas season. I got a lot of family obligations going on. A lot. I got most of my wrapping done. I've got about 3/4 of my Christmas shopping done. So yay for me. I have, if I hadn't bought some more Warhammer on Friday, I would have everything that I have painted, except for now I bought some more, so I got to get those painted. It's just a very busy time, so I'll do the best to get it out tomorrow. If I can't, or tomorrow morning early. If I can, it'll be tomorrow afternoon. But we're going to be looking at part of the torpedo attack. In fact, the group that hit the USS Utah. So, how about that? That should be fun. Hopefully it's something you guys will like. So, that's what's coming up tomorrow. Modeling-wise. So, I've done two things. One, I set up a playlist, music playlist, which I've never done. But I finally did, because certain music makes you feel certain ways, makes you want to do certain things, gives you certain energy. And when I'm painting Warhammer figures, futuristic guys, Marines in armor and plasma weapons, cool. I want something that really moves. So I set up a playlist of things like Five Finger Death Punch and, stuff like that. Some really good rockin' tunes. And then I've been binge watching Stranger Things. Now, I'm guessing most of you guys have seen it, but it's one of the series that I just never really got into. I saw part of an episode once and it was okay, but I just didn't get into it. Now that I've got all of this time while I'm painting, binge watching becomes, wow, cool. So let's see, I've watched the Fast and Furious series completely, end to end. That was fun. Then I got into Stranger Things. Here's the thing about Stranger Things. If you guys haven't seen it yet, or don't remember it, it takes place in like Ohio or Iowa or someplace like that. I can't remember. Yes, you'll like that one, Chris, for sure. It's supposed to take place somewhere back east, but it takes place in the early 80s. So from roughly 82 to 83 to like 85, something like that is the time frame it's supposed to be. What's really cool about that is that was back when I was getting out of high school and just starting my life and starting to live and, do stuff. So the cars in this series are awesome. Except for the one lady drives a 78 Pinto, 77 Pinto, the puke green with the with the full window. But the sheriff drives a Blazer, a Chevy Blazer. Really cool. And it's a beautiful Blazer, too. And I look at mine and I look at the one in the show and I'm like, yeah, there's a little difference. The one in the show is beautiful. And an automatic. But anyway, it's a fun show for me to watch. A lot of the... And it deals with adolescent kids, the tween to early teenage, and through into high school kids, and some of their adventures that they have with, I'm just going to call them monsters. So we'll leave it at that. And they bring the Russians in at some point in time, and I mean, it's really cool. It's a cool 80s piece that's done modern, that is set back in the 80s. So it's, for me, kind of fun to watch and listen to. The music's great. So yeah, I've been doing that as I work on the Army. We'll be showing you guys some more of the Army soon. We'll be doing some more basing soon. I've been doing some work on some bases. Just because I think these bases that I'm going to show you guys are applicable for other things as well. And I know that most of the techniques that I've been using on my bases are things that I used in my model railroading, or my Halloween layout, or my Christmas layout. So they're not all new to me, but putting them in a little teeny round space is new. So and that'll be coming up at some point in time. I'm just not 100% sure on my timeline on things like the cars and the tanks and whatnot, because unfortunately I am living my best life right now. I'm having a good time. I'm really having a lot of fun with what I'm doing in modeling. So, all right, you guys, I'm going to let you go. I haven't got into Stranger Things, Chris. I know I hadn't either until I had the opportunity, like I said, to sit down and batch paint 30 of these Marines. And you got to have something going on, and music works good too, but this was an opportunity, and you can kind of watch it and kind of paint and kind of watch it. You don't have to just sit and pay complete attention to the show, which is great, to understand what's going on. If you're just going to sit back and watch it, in my opinion, it would drag on. It would, in my opinion. But to be able to do it while I'm working on a project, it works out great, and actually has captivated my attention. I'm on season 4 now, and again, some of the cars in there, the music, all of that stuff. Yeah, you always need a background sound. And again, there's a lot of these series that I just haven't done. So, Pete, it's good to see you, my man. Thank you for being here. I understand you're having some rough weather over there. It's a foggy day in London down here, my friend. So take care of yourself, and the rest of you guys have a great rest of a weekend. And we'll see you tomorrow at some point for the Pearl Harbor attack, the torpedo plane attack. From the Hebrew group. So, see you then. That's it. More coffee.